What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Back cooking tonight, waiting a little bit later so it cools down a little bit. Tonight I'm doing barbecued shrimp New Orleans style, and that's just a phrase because you're not really doing barbecue. It's basically like a spicy, buttery sauce that you saute the shrimp in. So I'm going to make it with some dirty rice just from the grocery store, Zatarain's. For this, what I do is I get a pot with 3 cups of water and just a touch of canola or veggie oil, whatever you got, and pour everything in. Let it come to a boil, and then cover it and put it down to a simmer for 25 to 30 minutes, and just leave it alone. All the seasoning's already in here. So get that started first, and then about halfway through that, get your sauce started. So I've said it before, unless you like live by the coast, you're doing just fine getting frozen shrimp. A couple things, if you get a big bag, I usually keep a 2-pound bag at my place at all times. They're always there. It's a lot easier to portion out, depending how much you want any given day. I would just put them in a strainer, put it under the faucet for a little bit at, not hot water, because shrimp are very delicate. I always say treat them delicately because you don't want to overcook them and then they get tough like rubber bands and it's terrible. So they're really quick to defrost, and I'm going to make a dry rub. Predominantly paprika and chili powder with some cumin, some salt, and actually like a touch of, if you either got white granulated sugar or brown sugar, kind of like sweet and spicy. So pretty much I'm going to dry rub the shrimp and cook it in a lot of butter. That's it. So just wanted to give a quick tip for the rice because I think I haven't done this for a while. So just wanted to tell everybody if they haven't seen it already. So it's 7:30 as I'm saying this, but I think I'm going to let it cool down a little while. No rush because this is actually a pretty quick dinner. So it's still too hot to cook. So stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, so it's about 8:30, and my rice has just come to a boil, so I put it down to a simmer. So again, it's about 25 to 30 minutes once it comes to a boil. Cooking the shrimp is like max 10 minutes. So before you put your rice on, just to make sure all your prep is done, I would make sure you do that, just so you're not scrambling. So I got my shrimp and I put them in my dry rub that I mentioned earlier. So shrimp, 5 to 7 minutes. And this we're going to put in like a medium heat, nothing more because we're dealing with butter and garlic and we don't want it to burn. So I got about a half pound of shrimp. So I got a pan here with about 2 tablespoons of butter. So some people like to go heavier on the butter. I would say 4 tablespoons per pound of shrimp that you're using. So again, because this is pretty quick, I would wait till your rice has about 10 or 12 minutes left to go before you start with the shrimp. So I'm not quite there yet. I got about 2 cloves of garlic that are minced. So what I'm going to do is let the butter melt. I'm going to saute the garlic for about 1 minute, and then I'm going to toss the shrimp in. And just stir them with a wooden spoon, make sure they don't stick. And probably when there's about 1 or 2 minutes left on the shrimp, I'm going to add some lemon juice. Traditionally, this calls for Worcestershire sauce, which I still don't have. So I'm going to use a little bit of soy sauce and a touch of liquid smoke. My rub's actually got a little bit of brown sugar already, so that sugar's already in there. So this is really quick. When you're done, you might want to garnish it with some kind of greens, either chives, green onions. I actually got some fresh chopped cilantro, which I'm going to use. anything really works. Whatever you want to do with it, whatever you want to make of it. So this is, again, New Orleans style barbecue shrimp, and barbecue is just a phrase that's used. This isn't really barbecue. So we got the Zatarain's rice, little New Orleans theme tonight. We'll be back. All right, so my rice has about 10 minutes left to go, so I'm going to turn the pan on and start melting this butter. When I've cooked shrimp before, like for the spicy shrimp and pasta, shrimp scampi, normally I got the pan at about a medium high because I've been cooking with some oil. Because it's butter, again, I'm going to keep it a straight up medium. So I found when it's a medium high, these large size shrimp are about 5.5 minutes. So tonight I'll probably do them closer to 6. And again, it depends on how big your shrimp are, how hot your pan is. But at a medium heat, I'm probably going to do like 3 minutes aside on the shrimp. So once that butter, you can tell it's already melting pretty good. Once that liquefies, you saute the garlic for a minute, and it's time for your shrimp. So at this point, everything's pretty quick. So ideally, I want the rice to be done just before the shrimp. So I'm going to plate up the rice and then pour the shrimp and all the juices right on top of everything. So again, pretty quick. We'll be back. All right, so the shrimp have been going for 3 minutes, so it's just about time to turn them. So I'm going to turn them, then I'm going to show you. I'm going to bring you over here. Show you how things are looking. So everybody should be starting to turn the color of the shrimp. You know, they kind of go from that gray to that orange as you cook them. And the sauce is going to thicken up as you go, so that's why towards the end I'm going to add the lemon juice. And if it's getting a little bit too thick, you can always add a little bit of water too. That's kind of just take it how it goes, just see how it's looking. So you can see right here, it's looking pretty good. My rice is just about done, so I'm going to plate that up in a second. But keep an eye on it. If it's getting too thick, you can always add the lemon juice and the water, like I said, just to thin it out a little bit. And again, that's the preference. You know, you don't want to have it be a paste, but you don't want to water it down too much either. So you kind of make it your own, however you like it. So we'll be back in a second to plate up. See ya. All right, so we're done. So we got our dirty rice we already put here. So all we're going to do is plate up. So we're going to put the shrimp on the edge of the rice. You know, I know I'm just cooking at home, but I still kind of like to do, if I can, some good plate presentation. I feel like, you know, the food should look as good as it tastes if you can do it. So, just going to pour all this sauce and garlic on top of here. And then for some more color, we're going to add the cilantro. It's going to give it a little stir so it incorporates with the rice and the sauce. There you go. Looks good enough to be in an Iron Hill or someplace like that, you know. That's our New Orleans inspired dish, the barbecued shrimp. So everybody have a good night, good week. We'll see you tomorrow.